It's Brian Burke. He's the partner in Buckaplan.
Of Buckaplan.
Is that
Thanks for
right?
joining
How
us,
are you,
Brian.
Good. How you doing, Brian?
Doing great. Thank you so much for having me on today.
Yeah, but before we start, I had to tell you, when I first saw the name Buckaplan, I thought it was I thought it was Buck Kaplan, one of my relatives.
So Brian, tell us a little bit. What is Buckaplan?
Well, Buckaplan is a subsidiary of the company I own called Universal Copy, located in the central part of Connecticut. Universal Copy is your traditional reprographics and copying office. We have one location. We have 9 employees, and we mostly cater to architectural firms and construction companies doing their blueprints and their specification printing. And we've had Universal Copy now in business for 7 years. And about 4 years ago, there was a downturn in the economy, and nobody was building any buildings. Therefore, we weren't printing any plans, at least in our area of the state. And we needed to come up with a way to generate some business so we can keep our employees and keep our equipment and therefore keep our business. And we looked at a couple of business models that existed around us or that we were familiar with online, and we saw the example of what 1-800-Flowers had done or 1-800-Pavement had done. And we thought, why can't we rebrand ourselves, advertise not as Universal Copy anymore, but advertise as a company called Buckaplan.com, simplify the process for our clients, and we took a leap of faith. 3 years ago, we started Buckaplan, and we did some put together an e-commerce site. We did some social media advertising. We put some press releases in, and in fact, one of our first articles and our first ads was in the New England Real Estate Journal back in 2011.
I remember. That's when I started following you guys on Twitter.
And New England Real Estate Journal has been incredible for us. I think we picked up a client 3 days after our first article and ad went into the paper, and they are still using Buckaplan.com every week.
And you heard it here, folks. New England Real Estate Journal.
I can't say enough about them, and that's why we continue to go back to New England Real Estate Journal and continue to put in our ads and our articles, and we're thrilled to be on the radio today with them. But what we're doing is we're doing the same service as Universal Copy did, is we just rebranded it and we advertise it differently. So clients outside of our traditional area of central Connecticut are now hearing about us, and it's all done online. They don't need to come to our office. We don't need to go to their office. They send us a file via email or via our e-commerce site. Our group in our office now prints them, puts them in a UPS tube, ships them to their office directly. They don't have to leave their desk, their job site. And the best part is they know what their cost is. Traditional reprographic companies have always used a sliding scale, even Universal Copy. When you'd come into our office, you would say, I need a price to get 10 sets of these house plans. And depending on the number of sheets, the size of the sheets, and the number of sets you've ordered, there was a different price per drawing per every time you come to our office. It was based on quantity discounts. We've taken that equation right out of the mix. We've said this has been confusing from day one, and our clients don't understand why they have to order so many drawings to get the best price. So we just took that out of the entire mix, and we now say to anybody who contacts us, for any of the 3 standard size blueprints, we'll charge you $1 per plan to print them, and then we'll ship them to your office. And of course, it's the price for the plans plus the shipping to your office. So
Right. So it is literally $1 a plan. That's why it's called Buckaplan?
that is. We had some. We looked at a few different names some time ago, and we weren't originally going to call that, but one of the companies we were going to advertise with would not let us put pricing into the advertisements. Therefore, it kind of, because we wanted to advertise pricing with this group, and since we couldn't do it, we decided to call the company the price.
Right. That's brilliant marketing.
Well, and once you go up on the price, though, then you might have $5 a plan or $10 a plan or something like that. But so all they have to do is send you their file through an email.
Correct.
Right?
It's really easy. They can send them to plans at buckaplan.com. Typically, we're receiving PDF files or TIFF files every day, and those are the standard file formats for this industry. And we're just taking those and printing the number of sets that they need. And generally in the New England area, they're receiving them next day at ground rates. So they could order 100 drawings, pay $100, have them shipped directly to their office in Boston or Philadelphia or Washington D.C. and pay between $12 and $16 for that ground shipment. And the feedback we're getting from clients in all different markets is that they're paying between $3 and $4 a plan. They had to go pick them up at the location, and people are doing more with less these days. And we really saw the need to make some changes, and we went out and we interviewed a bunch of subcontractors and asked them what they were struggling with. And what they were struggling with was the cost of making their own prints, either in-house or getting them outsourced, and the amount of time it took them to download the files, review them themselves, and print them themselves in our office. And we've taken all of that out of the mix for them. They could literally email us the files right from their phone, right from their job site, right from their tablet. We're going to give them the confirmation in terms of that we received them and that we've shipped them, and they can track them right online. So it's been a business model that's worked now for 3 years, and we continue to add new clients weekly, and pretty excited about it.
Any company that is putting together any kind of plans actually could use the service, like a sign company that's making designs of signs, and they needed to their diagram reproduced. They would just send a file off to you, and then you could make that, and you send it back to them.
Correct. Anybody that needs a plan, whether it's a homeowner who had some plans designed by a local architect that needs 10 sets to bring to the building department, all the way up to a major construction company building a hospital in New York City or Boston. Our clientele is very diverse. We have got landscape architects, home builders from the Cape. We've got developing groups that are looking at parcels to buy to do big developments. We have retail coming to us, so it's really all over the mark. So
now, what about a complex blueprint that you might have to reproduce? That wouldn't be $1, I'm sure. That's a lot more paper. It's also probably the machines that would reproduce it are probably very costly.
If it's one of the 3 standard sizes, it is $1. If they want color or they want to print it on a different material, that's a different pricing structure. But they can call or email us and inquire about that, and we'll certainly, our team on our phone every day or via email can answer those questions pretty quickly for them. And but your standard black and white blueprint will remain at over $1 a plan.
Brian, so have you seen, I know that when you said as universal copy before like the 2008 or 9 recession, that your business was primarily serviced to architects and construction specialists. Have you seen, since you rebranded as Buckaplan, that it's expanded your target market?
Oh, it definitely has. The way general contractors do business these days is they're typically putting these files through invitation to bid systems or on their FTP sites or their own online, and they're asking the subcontractors to go to these sites and view these projects and download the plans, and so the subcontractors are now getting 3 or 4 invitations per week from these GCs, and they just don't have the time to go in there and download these plans or print these plans themselves. So it has helped us grow our business, and it certainly has increased our, doing this online and shipping has increased our territory. We've sent plans to Chicago. We've sent them to Arizona. We've gotten inquiries from all over the country, and it's
we
it's great.
we have to go to a break right now, Brian. We're going to come back. We'll finish up with you on with your interview, but right now we have to give our sponsor a read and go to a break.
Great.
And this interview is brought to you by New England Restaurant Brokers, recognized leader in the sale of food and liquor business for over 30 years. New England Restaurant Brokers team of restaurant specialists have sold hundreds of food and liquor businesses. If you're looking to buy, sell, or develop a food or liquor business, call New England Restaurant Brokers at 617-721-9655 or go to nerestaurantbrokers.com. Again, that's New England Restaurant Brokers at 617-721-9655 or email nerb@comcast.net. That's nerb@comcast.net. And we'll be right back on Money Matters Radio Network.
Rick Kaplan is right here on the Money Matters Radio Network.
And we're back on New England Real Estate Journal Radio. I'm Rick Kaplan with my co-host Eric Wilson. And join me and Eric and I, at the 2014 Rhode Island Realtors Conference and Expo on June 26th from 8:30 to 3 at New England Institute of Technology's East Greenwich campus. See some of the newest products and services for lending, marketing, and more. You can also participate in breakout sessions being held throughout the day. For more information or to register, call 401-785-9898 extension 1 or visit rirealtors.org/RIAR Expo. Again, that's 401-785-9898 extension 1 or visit rirealtors.org/RIAR Expo. And we have on the phone with us Brian Burke of Buckaplan. And we were talking a little bit about
how his market opened up after he changed to Buckaplan, and now you were saying that it's no longer just specified to. And also, you said your geographic change. You said you have jobs out in Arizona and Chicago.
Yeah, when we decided to rebrand it and make it an online company and advertise it that way, there was no more of companies saying to us, well, you're not in our local area. We'd go out as Universal Copy and visit somebody in Hartford or Providence. They said, there's no way you can service us. But as soon as we changed the way we branded ourselves and promoted ourselves, we had an online presence and we had a 1-800 number. People didn't know where we were sending drawings from, and it didn't matter anymore. As long as they knew they were paying a fixed rate and getting those plans the next day, it didn't matter where our location was anymore. So that helped us expand the business, and we've been very successful. Once people understand what this concept is and what the pricing is, we've been able to generate new clients. And once these new clients start using us, they've continued to use us for the past 3 years.
Well, I used to have blueprints made years ago, many, many years ago. And, I would bring it down to the company that would do the reprint, and they put it through that big machine, and then they give me a bill for like $40 or $50, and and then I have to leave. You're saying that I give you that same blueprint on a
PDF.
email,
Yeah.
and it's only going to cost me $1 plus the shipping.
That is correct.
I mean, that's unbelievable. Now, how long ago did things like that come into play? Has it been like 4 years?
Well, the technology has changed so much in the blueprinting industry. When I came into it, 20 years ago, we were running these big big ammonia machines making traditional blueprints. Very labor intensive, right? The operator had to stand behind the machine and load paper and pull the vellum out or the mylar out to make these copies and run them through the developer. These days with everything being digital, we can literally have the PDF files come into our office. They go right to the machine. They come out. Our operators are stapling and rolling them and putting them in tubes. So it's very efficient these days. Everything's pretty much standardized in terms of the files that we're receiving. So it's basically a nice, clean funnel that's coming in. And there's, since everything's been standardized, we can do this at this rate, and we could do it at that speed. We're now running. 3 years ago we were cutting hours and cutting employees. Now we're adding employees, and we just changed our hours from 7 a.m. to 7 p.m.
Wow. Brian, so on the e-commerce site, say I go online and I want to do this Buckaplan, is there like a dashboard I fill, or do I just do I do the same thing I would do in an email? I just download my PDF to a certain, I guess I only think of like a dashboard that you guys have. And also, do you keep these files that they send to you on file at your house or your office in order to, in case, say, I need 10 today, and then maybe I
You need
lose a
another
couple,
reprint.
and I need more reprints later. Do you guys save that stuff?
We only save them if we're asked to do that.
Okay.
Generally, we're these drawings are coming in and getting printed, and there's a bid on a project, and if the subcontractor doesn't win the project, we're purging out those files. If they win the
Right.
project and they decide, please keep them on file, we have no problem doing that.
Mm-hmm.
And through the e-commerce site, you're going to create a username and a password just as you would on Amazon.com or Zappos.com, and you're going to save that information. It's going to have your ship to address, your bill to address, and you have that profile, and then you'll be able to go on there, select full size or half size plans, number of sets. You'll be able to put in your project name, and then at the end you'll have to upload the PDF files. And once those are uploaded, you're going to email confirmation back to you saying Buckaplan received your files. And then once our operators ship those plans, you're going to get the tracking number, and then you're also going to get a receipt as well for your credit card payment.
Okay, that's fantastic stuff. Here's my other question.
Sure.
After you do so this is kind of almost like a PayPal account where you put in your billing information, the address that where the shipping address, the billing address, a little bit of basic information. I'm sure my name, last name, what company I work for. Does this also does it keep track on that same profile that I go to? Does it keep track of how many times I've ordered plans with you?
We're able to see how many times you have.
Mm-hmm.
You're not able to see that, but you'll be able to track it by your confirmations that you receive back to us via email. You won't see that on the dashboard, but we'll be able to say, Rick or Eric, order 1645 was printed and shipped on this date.
Mm-hmm.
And we can come back to that, and we can also, if you do save those files, we can go back to those files.
Nice. So
Right.
you'll keep track of it on your dashboard, and then we'll keep track of it on our email.
Correct.
All right.
Brian, if someone is interested in your service, how would they get a hold of you?
The best way to get a hold of us is to go online, and that's buckaplan.com. If they'd like to give us a call, they can call us at 1-855-BUCKAPLAN, or they can simply send us an email at plans@buckaplan.com.
And Buckaplan spelled out Buckaplan.
Correct.
All right, so just in case people Buckaplan BUC like the Tampa Bay Bucks, it's actually the buck like the elk or
Right.
deer,
Correct.
right?
Correct. Yep.
Good info. Hey, that's what I'm here for. My 2 cents.
Yeah. Thank you,
Thanks for
Brian.
joining us, Brian.
Thank you so much.
And our interview with Brian was